Hi, I've seen this video on the internet about the big EV lie, and I thought I wanted to create just a little correction and response video to it about some of the information in it and some of the language in it that's a little bit misleading, that just makes you think that changing your car to EV is not going to save the planet. Truthfully, it's most probably not, but it is going to help a small amount. We can debate about the size of the amount, but I think it will help. And this video just basically says it won't at all, and there's no point, you might as well not bother. So I just wanted to correct a few little things I spotted in this video. So it's by The Car Guides, it's on YouTube, and we're going to go through it now.
Here's the big statement for this episode. The whole move to electric vehicles will make no meaningful difference to global warming and the reduction of greenhouse gases if you don't address the main causes. And right now, we're not. And if we don't stop the largest nations on Earth increasing their share of greenhouse gases, the planet dies anyway. Converting all cars to EVs will give us what? A few more months of life on Earth? Not even that. Do I have your attention now? Good.
So in that clip you can see his main point is that by switching to EVs it's not going to make a huge difference unless we address the other issues. And he's kind of right. You know, switching to just from petrol cars to electric cars isn't really going to solve the problem of the climate crisis and the climate problems. We're going to have to do a lot more, and in a list of priorities, maybe say number 10 being most important, changing transport to electric is most probably number 2 on the list. We've got a hell of a lot more work to do. But he reckons that because we've got more work to do in other areas and other things, we shouldn't even bother trying with EVs yet. We should be concentrating on the other things. And I think he's just wrong. We should be trying to do the transition to EVs and more. You know, his basic attitude throughout this whole video is basically, well, because we're not bothering with these other things and because other countries aren't bothering, why are we bothering so much with EVs? Why are these companies pushing this, and why are governments pushing it so much? You know, and I understand maybe he's frustrated that other things aren't being targeted and pushed. I can't totally agree in that. But to say just because these other problems aren't being solved, and this one problem is trying to be solved, it's just silly to say don't bother.
Spoiler alert, they're not. I have a problem that governments are ignoring the real causes of global warming in favour of easy vote-winning car bashing. I do have a problem with banning internal combustion engine cars rather than allowing it to be a personal choice, especially when any look at the data will show that they are not the problem and will make negligible difference to global warming. And I also take great issue with that special kind of EV evangelist who thinks that they are saintly, righteous planet savers, and petrol car owners should be vilified, abused, and censored.
I hate the extreme right and the extreme left. I'm not a supporter of Just Stop Oil. I don't think it's the solution, all these protests and the disruption they cause. I think we should be just trying to educate people more about the facts and the information that's out there about why this change is necessary, what other changes can be done, and why it's not really going to cost us nation. And there's many other side benefits as well, not just saving the climate. We can produce electricity more home in our own countries. We can clean up the air, have better health circumstances. It's safer. Most of these renewable technologies are a lot safer than nuclear or fossil fuels.
In all but a few countries, if you have an EV, you are still using fossil fuels and spoiling the planet. So take that smug look off your face.
So his main argument in this video is this chart, I think. This chart, he seems to think
it to be opposed and censored. In all.
So he brings up this chart to defend himself about why switching to EVs is just stupid. It's a chart from 2021, and it shows you the amount of fossil fuels and electricity countries burn. We've got South Africa doing pretty badly, really. 89% of their country's energy is from fossil fuels. And we've got places like United States and United Kingdom. We're not doing great, really, and it's not until you get to some of the smaller countries and clever countries that have made the switch and really invested in renewables. His argument in a later point is about, location and population size and all that, but to me, I don't think that matters. I think if a government had the willpower, we can make this change to renewables. There's hundreds of technologies coming online now that can generate renewables from various sources. I mean, the most frustrating thing is people seem to think that renewable energy can only come from the sun in terms of solar panels and wind turbines. Well, that's just not true. There's geothermal. There's biofuels that we can create. There's tidal power. Tidal power is a massive one, especially for the UK, where I'm from, where we really have massively underinvested. We're an island. We're surrounded by the tidal power, and it's a reliable source. We know when the sea goes in and out. So I don't understand why we don't capture more of that energy. There's so many other forms of energy you can capture. So the people who say we can't do it, I just lack vision, I think, and lack the research and looking into all the various technologies out there. But anyway, this chart is from 2021, and he reckons that you're going to plug your car in, and there's no point in changing from petrol because look, if you're in the United States, 60% of your the energy that goes into the EV is from fossil fuels. What's the bloody point? We might as well stick with petrol. Same with United Kingdom, 45% of the energy that you're going to be fueling your car is coming from fossil fuels. Why are we bothering to make this change? That's his point. But this is a chart from 2021. So we can have a look now at what's happening literally 1 year later. Do you want to see what's happened 1 year later? Now, unfortunately, the colours are slightly different, but the chart exactly the same from the same website, just 1 year later. And would you look at this? The amount of renewables that's being created onto the grid is on the way up. It's only increasing, and this is just 1 year difference. So we can take the United Kingdom as a perfect example. Now, I feel that we have a government in the moment in place that don't really care about renewables, or it feels like they don't really care about anything anymore. But, even with their flip-flopping policies on where our energy supply is coming from, look at what's happening. We're on 44% fossil fuels and 41% renewables. Let's go back to his chart. Oh, look at that. The amount of fossil fuel in our grid has only gone down by 1%, and the renewable sector has increased by 1%. So, and that's just in a space of 1 year. So hopefully in 10 years' time, this number will be up to 51%. In 20 years' time, it will be 61%. And hopefully we'll be moving much quicker than what we are now. I mean, now we're barely doing any much policy to improve this number. Hopefully we'll get a government in place that will actively support the renewable sector and will hopefully increase this number even faster. So this is a bit that he seems to completely ignore. He thinks that these numbers are static, that they're not going to change. Well, I've shown you that they are. Let's look at South Africa, that was one of the worst on his list. That 89% of the fossil fuels in 2021 and only 6.2% in renewables. Let's just see what happens in 1 year. And this is for another country that's maybe not that supportive of renewables. Well, look what's happened. The amount of fossil fuels has gone right down to 86%. And renewables have gone up to 91%. So the whole fact of the matter is that the things are changing in the positive direction. So, okay, he's right. For right now, when you go to a pump, if you're in the United Kingdom, 45% of that fuel that you're putting in your car is from fossil fuels, unfortunately. It's a shame, but it is. But already, in the space of 1 year, that number has gone down to 44%. And like I say, hopefully that number will only improve. And hopefully it will improve along all these countries like it has. And let's have a look at what happens when you get a country that changes government and has a government that's slightly more in favour of renewables. So Australia, that's second on the list for the worst for fossil fuels, 75%. And renewables were just at 25%. So a new party, a new election's got in. Let's see what's happened. Oh, Australia's no longer number 2 on the list. Australia's fallen right down to number 3. And the amount of fossil fuels they use is fallen to just 68%. And renewables have had a 10% increase. So it just shows you we can do this if we wanted to. If there's a willpower in politics. And if these right-wingers just stop complaining about it. I get the scariness that, oh, things are going to change, that your fossil fuel car might not be around as long anymore. But things are changing in the right direction. And this is a bit that he just gets wrong. So take that, you smug, arrogant prick. So again, this guy loves his charts. And he says gas is outsourced and expensive. He's right. We shouldn't be using it. It's maddening that we're using so much gas. Now, I understand we're going to have a reliance on gas for a long time. But we should be trying to move away from this stupidity of relying on imports from other countries. I hope he elite agrees with that. And the interesting thing, he put wind is not reliable. We can't rely on wind. You know, when the wind doesn't blow, what are we going to do? We're going to be screwed. Well, firstly, number one, it's not the only way to generate electricity. They like to make you think that wind is the only way that we're going to be able to produce energy. No, there's something called solar panels we can generate electricity from. And like I've said, tidal power, I don't understand. We're a bloody island. We're surrounded by the sea going in and out all the time. I believe Scotland does have a few tidal power generators now, but we should be doing a hell lot more in that area, in that sector. Biofuels, you can turn grass and food that's going to waste into energy. We can capture the gas and the methane from this and generate electricity like that. Geothermal, there's loads of places that in the UK that they've said reckon that could be suitable for geothermal electricity production. Then there's the fact that we don't insulate our houses properly, and the fact that we don't have many heat pumps. You can even capture the wind on motorways. There's these turbines that can be placed in the middle of the motorway, you know, where traffic is constantly passing by, and these turbines capture the energy of the cars passing by. We could be doing that. There's so many options to capture energy. And in terms of also not being reliable, well, storage, we should be having a lot more storage, quite frankly. We could easily, one thing you seem to forget is that in maybe 10, 15 years' time, there's going to be literally thousands and thousands of EVs coming off the road where, you know, mechanically they're not safe anymore. But the battery inside of them can be pulled out and then reused as maybe a grid battery, because they might not be suitable for fast charge and dissipating charge in a EV car anymore, but they'll be perfect for grid batteries that we can place throughout the UK and store wind energy when we've got too much of it. In fact, it's a shame right now in this moment, a lot of our wind energy is wasted. They have to either turn off the turbines or don't not use the electricity because there's too much of it to be captured or used. It's crazy. And it's easier to turn off the wind production than it is to turn off the gas or nuclear power stations, obviously. So it's just a real shame that we haven't got the right government in thinking about. We haven't got a proper government thinking about this at all, about energy strategy. And he also makes a point in this video about he thinks that once all the cars go from petrol to electricity, the government's going to have to tax it because they're going to be losing loads of tax revenue from the lack of petrol. And he's right. It's going to be interesting to see what the hell the government does to fill in the gap. But I don't think they can do much on electricity. They might be able to raise the taxes slightly on electricity, but the thing is, if they do that, solar panels already can be proved profitable in like 10 years' time at the energy rates that are in the UK. You can buy solar panels that will last 25 years. And for the remaining 15 years, they can actually turn you a profit and make you money. This is happening now in this country. So, if they try and tax it or raise electricity even more people will switch to solar and start generating their own power and then start to make more money from it. And the costs will be coming down and down and down. So I don't think there'll be a charge on solar. My prediction is personally they'll just be charging you a lot more for road tax. I think road tax is going to go up by most probably double, if not more. And maybe the tax on buying cars might go up as well. But, that's for the government to worry about another day. But in terms of like this transition, I just think it's a much better way to go. And another thing people seem to forget is the amount of electricity it takes to churn oil into petrol. They think it's just you pull it out of the ground and you can put it in your car. It needs a lot of energy, a lot of refinement to turn it into petrol, and that will have a huge impact on the amount of energy in our grid as well. So basically, in summary, I just wanted to say that I think videos like this need to be just a little bit more careful with the information they spread, and I don't know if they intentionally lie or intentionally mislead. I don't know what the issue is, but I understand some of the resistance of EVs and some of the frustration maybe that this is that the government is coming after you for your cars and petrol cars. I do understand that, but I just hope you understand why this change is necessary, and I think there's a lot of other changes that we need to do. I hope this video has pointed out just a few things that are wrong in this video. I'm not the best at presenting on the camera. I'm not very good at speaking. I'm not the most clearest person. I'm not a presenter. I'm not a bloody YouTuber really. It's just videos like this have pushed me to try and just make a small minuscule effort to push back on some of this misinformation. And there's far better videos and YouTubers out there that cover this, like Fully Charged, and you can find the information out there if you just dig around the internet. But I just wanted to create a video that just fixed some of the facts, and just I think it's just that line of where he goes, take that, you smug EV person.
So take that smug look off your face.
It just came across so annoying that I wanted to make this video. So anyway, I might make some other videos about the disinformation on EVs, because we need to start pushing back on some of these people on there that literally I think are just making these videos for views and clicks and drama. But we do need to push back on them. So anyway, thank you for watching.